To with bbclearningenglish.com. Everyday English for everyday situations.
Hello, welcome to How To with bbclearningenglish.com. I'm Jackie Dalton. In previous programmes, we've looked at how to greet people and introduce yourself with phrases like, "Hey, how are you?" and "I'd like to introduce myself." But what can you say in conversations after the initial greeting? You may often find you want to say something more to keep the conversation going, but you don't quite know what to say. In this programme, we're going to look at some handy language and topics of conversation you might use. Let's start with our first one. Matt and Jane greet each other. What does Jane say after the initial greeting?
All right, Matt, how's it going?
Yeah, no trouble. How about you? All right?
Yeah, not bad. I haven't seen you for ages.
No, I've been busy, haven't I?
Jane says, "I haven't seen you for ages," which means I haven't seen you for a very long time.
I haven't seen you for ages.
No, I've been busy, haven't I?
A nice phrase to use when seeing someone after a long time. You could also say things like, "It's been a long time," or "I can't believe it's been so long." Now for our next area of conversation. What does Neil ask Carrie after they've both greeted each other?
Hello, Carrie, you all right?
Oh, hi, Neil. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Great, yeah, what have you been up to?
Did you get that? He said, "What have you been up to?" Quite an informal phrase which means, "What have you been doing?" Obviously, he's not expecting full details of everything Carrie's been doing, but it's a friendly way of making conversation. Carrie responds to his question with quite a vague answer.
Great, yeah, what have you been up to?
This and that, you know.
This and that, Carrie says, which means various different things. It doesn't really answer Neil's question, but as I mentioned before, Neil wasn't expecting a detailed description of everything she'd been doing. They're just chatting in a friendly way. We'll hear that phrase again in this next dialogue. In this one, instead of asking, "What have you been up to?" referring to the recent past, the question is, "What are you up to?" meaning, "What are you doing now?"
Hey, Jane, how you doing?
Good, thanks. And you?
Yeah, not bad. What are you up to?
Oh, this and that, just the usual. What about you?
So again, Jane responds with this and that, and then she uses the phrase, "just the usual," a way of saying nothing new or different from what she normally does. Oh, this and that, just the usual.
What are you up to?
Oh, this and that, just the usual. What about you?
So a reminder of the language so far. We've had, "I haven't seen you for ages." "What are you up to?" "What have you been up to?" This and that. Just the usual.
You're listening to How To with bbclearningenglish.com.
Let's move on to more phrases and topics of conversation you might use. What does Neil ask Carrie this time after he's asked her how she is?
All right, Carrie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Neil. How are you going?
Yeah, very well. What are you doing around here?
Oh, I was just popping into the shop down the road there.
What are you doing round here? A nice, informal and conversational question you can ask when you see someone somewhere you weren't expecting to see them. Carrie responds by saying she was just popping into a shop, which is an informal way of saying going to a shop.
What are you doing around here?
Oh, I was just popping into the shop down the road there.
Sometimes people comment on each other's appearance. They're usually only if they're talking to someone they know well.
Hi, Sandra. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Your hair looks great.
Oh, thank you. And I love your dress.
Another thing people often do is talk about their surroundings.
I really like this pub.
It's a lovely hotel, isn't it?
Transport and how people got to wherever they are is also a popular one.
Hi, lovely to see you. Did you come here by car?
Hi, John. Matt, good to see you. How was the journey?
And, of course, one topic of conversation we haven't looked at yet, but which we can't possibly forget to mention, is that very British favourite.
It's lovely weather today, isn't it?
What awful weather we're having.
Isn't all this sunshine great?
It's turned very cold suddenly, hasn't it?
Just a taste of some of the many, many things there are to say about the weather. Always a nice, safe topic. And now time for a recap of the phrases and topics of conversation we looked at. You could talk about how long it's been since you last saw the person.
I haven't seen you for ages.
No, I've been busy, haven't I?
You could ask them what they've been doing or what they are doing.
Great, yeah, what have you been up to?
What are you up to?
What are you doing around here?
And a couple of responses we looked at.
Oh, this and that, just the usual.
You could comment on your surroundings.
This house is gorgeous.
Or ask the person if the journey to meet you was okay.
How was the traffic?
You can talk about the weather.
It's a lovely day today.
And with people you know well, you could also say something nice about their appearance.
Your hair looks great.
And that's all for this week's How To. But don't forget to keep practicing your English with bbclearningenglish.com.
That was How To with bbclearningenglish.com.